I have been sober for 1.5 years, and I recently became a bartender again since becoming sober. And I want to share my story. So last time I made a video, it was about being 1 year sober. So I just thought I would make another video about being 18 months sober and being a bartender now, which is a totally different experience. A little background into my sobriety story and my drinking story. I always considered myself the party drinker. Once I got started, it was like I just didn't want to stop. I wanted to keep the party going. I won't go too much into this because I kind of went into it in my last video, but I don't feel like I really used alcohol to like deal with life and the stress of life. I used it to kind of deal with the social anxieties of being around other people. I mean, I drank alone, but not all that often. But a lot of times when I would drink, I would just drink too much, get too drunk, embarrass myself, get myself into dangerous situations, the ridiculous hangovers. And I also had started on this really intense healing journey after a bad breakup. And I was really working on myself for like 1 year before I decided to get sober. And I just felt like it was kind of necessary to continue my healing and growing journey to cut alcohol out. I just didn't feel like I could fully heal and grow if alcohol was still in my life. And it's becoming a thing. Like a lot of the people that I follow and admire and look up to that are in the public eye, when they really are serious about becoming the best versions of themselves, they all quit drinking alcohol. So whether you even have a problem with alcohol or not, I just feel like it has become this really toxic element in our lives. It's something that ruins lives, kills people. We become reliant on it to socialize. It's just this crazy thing. But that's a whole other video. But I wanted to talk about my experience with being now 1.5 years sober and becoming a bartender again, and how it's been interesting. I did bartend for a lot of years, all throughout my 20s and 30s. And then I started bartending again over this last summer for the first time since being sober. The last video I made, I was 1 year sober and I was not traveling in the van yet. And now I am full-time traveling in the van, and I had a job over the summer bartending at a bar on the river in Colorado. And I haven't bartended in over 4 years. But now that I am traveling full-time, bartending really is a great way to make money, seasonal jobs, and you can work, make your money, and then keep moving on. So I got back into bartending so that I could afford my lifestyle of living on the road in my van. So I wouldn't say it was necessarily triggering to be around alcohol. There were aspects of it that were triggering, like hanging out at the bar after work with my coworkers and wanting to drink with them. You know, they're having a drink after work. I'm like, oh, I wish I could participate. I think for me, like serving people and watching them get sloppy drunk, a lot of times I'd be like, ooh, yeah, okay. That's why I'm glad I don't drink anymore. And so knowing what I know now and knowing the chokehold that alcohol has on us as a society, a culture, I view it differently. And I see other people struggle with it or depend on it in the same way that I did. And so I see that and I'm like, I'm glad that I am fighting this thing and I don't do that anymore. And I don't rely on it to like have fun and to socialize. So I think another thing that was interesting for me, yeah, did I want to drink sometimes? Of course, you know, I wish I could drink, you know, normal or whatever that even means. However, I also know, knowing myself and knowing how carried away I would get with alcohol, I'm almost positive had I been drinking all summer, you know, everybody's drinking like kind of a lot all the time, almost every day. And if I was there with them drinking, I think it's inevitable that at some point I probably would have gotten carried away. I would have embarrassed myself. Maybe I would have screwed up the job in some way, whether it's getting drunk behind the bar or being too hungover to come into work. The fact that that was never even a possibility of happening, that I knew without a shred of doubt that I was not going to screw this job up. I was not going to embarrass myself. I was not going to do anything stupid. And I had full confidence in that. And that's a really good feeling, knowing that I didn't have to have that struggle. It is such a struggle drinking, because if you're someone like me who cannot drink in moderation, it is such a struggle to try to drink in moderation and to tell yourself, oh, I'm only gonna have 2 drinks and then I'm gonna stop. And yeah, maybe that does happen sometimes. You're able to actually listen to yourself and do that. But it's a friggin' struggle though. It is hard to do, because then you're constantly the entire time thinking about, oh, I need to slow down. Oh, I need to stop. Maybe I can just have one more. And it's just this fucking back and forth. And it's a struggle. Whereas when you just don't drink, that's it. It's just a hard no. You don't do it. So I was very grateful all summer, knowing that I wasn't gonna have to run into any of that bullshit and none of those problems and none of those internal struggles. And I was just like, no, I don't drink. And honestly, it's the great feeling telling people you don't drink. People are so impressed by it. I mean, the bragging rights alone are reason enough to get sober. I mean, it's a very commendable thing, and people really think highly of you for it. And I'm damn proud of it, and I like to brag about it because, yeah, it is hard, and it does take an incredible amount of courage and strength to even just make the decision to quit and then to keep up with it. It builds your confidence knowing that you made this hard decision and you're showing up for yourself. And every single day, every single time it gets tough, every time you feel tempted and you say, nope, not doing it, sticking to it, it really does something to your whole, I think it raises your vibration, it raises your freaking aura. Like, it just makes you all around an elevated being. I don't know, as cheesy as that sounds, I truly believe that. I really believe that being sober elevates you. Like, everything about you becomes higher vibration. And I don't think it is a coincidence that everybody's got their different dreams. For me, a dream of mine, for as long as I can remember, has been to travel full time and just be like a nomad and kind of wandering around and doing what I want. And I didn't know how that exactly would look, but I just knew that I wanted to travel full time. And now I live in a van and I travel and I live free. And I don't think it's a coincidence that about a year after becoming sober, the things lined up in my life for me to fulfill my dream. And now I am a full-time nomad. I don't think that's a coincidence. I really think that it allowed me to really focus on myself and for things to line up for me to take the necessary steps to then ultimately fulfill my dreams. Like, I am living my dream right now. And it's not all because of getting sober, but I think it was a lot of the work I was doing as well. I've been really working on myself, and then becoming sober, putting that into it, the mix, has just been like this perfect storm of living the life I want. So my GoPro just died on me. I hate GoPro, by the way. So this thing told me it was too hot. Anyway, like, why is it hot? It shouldn't be hot. It's just sitting here recording. It's not in the sun. It's literally doing what it's designed to do, record. And it's saying it's too hot. Anyway, I'd be lying if I said I didn't wish that I could drink with people sometimes. However, I have to constantly remind myself that the benefits of being sober far outweigh any momentary, superficial benefits of drinking. And just constantly reminding yourself what a gift it is to have the awareness to get sober and to work hard at something and show up for yourself and do something that's really hard. And it just gets better and better. And now 18 months into being sober, I honestly can't imagine drinking ever again. I mean, sometimes I sit there and think like, oh, maybe I'll, introduce it back into my life one day. Maybe I'll get to a point. it reintroduce it and maybe it'll be different this time. But honestly, even thinking about that it gives me this weird visceral reaction where I'm like, ooh, I don't know. I don't think so. It's just so much easier without it, and it's so much better. It's such a different life, and to go back, it's not worth it. I don't see it being worth it ever, and I really don't think I'll ever go back. I don't see the point now. I've done this work. I've gotten so far. It feels so freaking good to be sober, to say that you're sober. It just is. It's a really good thing. So it's nothing but positive. There's nothing but positive with sobriety. And with drinking, there's pretty much nothing but negative. I mean, it is such a polar opposite thing. And I am so grateful that I did this for myself. I want to start this new thing where I have this book that a friend gave me called 3001 Questions About Me. And I feel like it's a cute conversation starter. So there's just like random, all sorts of stuff. Some of them are lighthearted, some of them are like pretty deep and serious. So I want to flip to a page and just ask a question. I'll answer the question first, and then I would love to hear your question in the comments. How long do I have before I get really tired today? No, that's stupid. Okay. Does my life have structure? Ooh. Question 2205. That's a funny one. No, mine does not have structure right now, but I like it that way. I don't like too much structure. I love the unknown. I love not knowing what I'm gonna do from one day to the next. Even when I am in some place and I'm gonna be working a job for an extended period of time for the season, I like knowing that that's gonna end, and that after that, I'm gonna have to figure out the next moves, where I'm gonna go. So I like having a little structure maybe, but no, I don't have structure in my life right now, and I like it that way. And I would love to hear your answer to that question in the comments. And I'm gonna show you where I'm camped out right now, because it's pretty freaking cool. So this here, in the distance, that is the highest suspension bridge in the world here in Colorado. It's called the Royal Gorge Bridge, and it's really cool. And I walked across it yesterday, and I'm gonna go again today, because why not? So let me know if you want me to make more videos about sobriety, or if I should stick to van life. I love talking about this stuff, and I would love to hear your experiences, whatever you're going through, in the comments, and I will respond. And thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye.